Hi everyone, happy Sunday. So this video today is about a antique market, a local one I went to, and the items I picked up. Just showing you what I paid for them and the total variety of items. And also what to look out for if you decide you want to come down to Edinburgh and go antique hunting. So let's start with the first item. So the first item is a wooden snuff box. Now you can see the price is £8. Now, I got it down to £5. It's a nice round one, which possibly is Georgian in age. It's around 1790s, 1800 for holding tobacco, also known as a snuff box, or snuffing snuff, which is basically powdered tobacco, if you didn't know. So that's the first item. Next is a naval officer's brass inkwell from the 1700s. And you can see a better picture here. Now it's got dolphin and scalloped shell decorations along the rim of the base. And the lid opens nicely. You can see it's very dark inside. And inside is the original glass insert cup for ink, for holding ink. Obviously you'd have a quill pen, like a large feather, if people don't know what a quill is, for writing with or drawing. So that was £10 for this inkwell. Quite happy with that. Should be good profit. If you saw my previous videos, you'll see that I sold one of them. I think it was for about £65, and also paid £10 for it. So very profitable. Next we have a pewter tobacco box. This will date around the 1690s in date. Very early pewter box for tobacco. Now this will be for a pipe, I would have thought, pipe tobacco. In quite good condition. The hinge is fine, works, no cracks. The lid opens and closes nicely, as you can hear. So it was £12. I got it down to £8. So this should do well on eBay. Okay. Next, we have a brass trivet from the 1700s Georgian. See, it's got a fox and some sort of a plant decoration. And the back is very dark and signs of the old polished white powder from when it was polished. What I'll do is always put a bit of oil on there just to wipe that polish away, that powder. And it gets it back to the old dark look, getting rid of that polished powder for the photos. So yeah, that cost me £2, this trivet. So quite happy with that. Let me know in the comments what you think of these items, by the way. And also, yeah, it's good to be back in Edinburgh. As you know, I was away in Toronto, seeing family. It was a nice trip. I'm glad to be back, hitting the antique markets, getting the really old antique stuff. And which you'll see if you keep watching my videos. So next we have this quite a rare fire poker. Now I think I would say this could even be Georgian because it's very early, the shape. I mean, if you look at the thistle, a bit like a pineapple. It's very early in date. So this is an iron tip and this is completely brass. So this cost me £2. Quite a nice rare item. Okay. Next we have now these three items: a sailor's knife, a meat chopper, and a level. Very interesting small group of items. So these three cost me £10 from a house clearance chap. And the sailor's knife, it's got the name Oxley on it, on the blade. The meat chopper, it's got a quite nice crescent blade to it, very sharp. Now whalers used to use these for chopping up blubber as well as meat. So it could have been used on one of the whaling ships that left Edinburgh on its voyages. And this beautiful ebony and brass level. So that'll polish up nicely with the ebony wood. And the brass is obviously very dark. So for £10, there should be profit in the 3. Again, I will post in about 8 days' time what they sell for on eBay. So you get to see, obviously what I pay and what they sell for. Right. The next item is quite a special one. So this is a non-commissioned officer, naval officer's brass signal lantern. The nice fluted roof to the top. So it's also a vent. Quite good condition. You can see the dark areas from age in places. It's got its original oil burner inside. So if I open it up, you will see the back. There's like a brass box here. Take it out, and that's where the oil would have been filled, and there would have been a wick coming out of the top of that. So it's quite nice it's got this, because usually these get lost. Okay, so that slots in nicely. The back, this clip goes like that, beautifully made. There's a handle on the back for doing signals on board a ship like that. So a bosun or non-commissioned officer would have this on the deck, walking up and down, just making sure everything's okay at night. Nothing dodgy was going on, and keeping an eye on the sails and everything. And yeah, this cost me £40. Now it was 60, which you'll be able to see on that price. And I paid 40 for it. The guy took 40, so I was quite happy with that. Quite a rare item. But you'll see here, obviously a bigger picture. Glass is in good condition, so very happy with that. Should be profit. Next we have a Victorian shot flask with a nice scalloped shell decoration on both sides. So it's brass and copper, obviously. Price, you can see £35. I've got it down to £25, so £10 off. And here it has a, if you can see here, there's like a hinged button here. That's to open and close the spout. Okay. And yeah, not bad. It's also got the maker's name, Dixon. And it says Dixon and Sons painted. So pretty cool. When you buy these, always check that the seam is it's either brass soldered or lead soldered. Make sure there's no holes or cracks, because then it's worthless. Okay, I do see a lot of these and I check them over. It's got no cracks or splits to the body. If it does, it's like I say, it's worthless pretty much to collectors. A few dents are fine, and also check the spout that it works, and look down and you can see if the actual stopper inside is opening and closing. Okay, so that's for holding like shot, so little balls of lead for like shotguns, or even for revolvers or pistols. Okay, quite a nice item. Like I said, I do see them, but they're usually split, so for £25 there should be profit. And I like the shell decoration on both sides, which is quite rare. Next we have a huge pair of Georgian candle holders. So they're marked at 12. You can see there, I got them for 10 for the pair. They're unusual because they're so high. The midsection is quite long compared to the other ones I've sold in the past. Nice and dark, the bases, as you can see. Reproductions tend to be shiny bases, or horrible casting lines, which you'll see in the cheaply made copies. Old traces of wax. So you can imagine this in a Georgian property on the fireplace, or table, dining table, large dining table, one on each end. I've never seen ones this big. So for £10 it was a bargain. Okay, I usually get £50 to £60 or more maybe on eBay, but this will be quite rare to see what these get because I've never had ones this long like this before. So let's see what happens. I'll post an update like I always do. Next, we have a very rare. Now, can you guess what that is? There's a bigger picture. It's got a nice knob handle, right? Very old smell to the wood. It looks like it's pine. Now, I know what these are. Can you guess? So I'll give you a couple of seconds to get an idea. You might have to Google them. So I'm just going to let you know. Now, it's called a Canon Tampion, right? Tampion being, as you would know the word, the other side of the other top of that word, it's for like a plug, basically. Now, they stuck these in the ends of cannons, barrels on ships to stop water getting in, sea salt water, so it wouldn't rust the cannons, right? The cannon barrels, that is. So this cost me £5. Person didn't know what it was. I do from experience. They do quite well. If you look on the the actual war, the British War Museum, the Imperial War Museum, in their archives, they've actually got, on the online archives, they've actually got some of these examples. So quite rare item. I usually sell these for, I've only sold about 2 or 3 of them in the past, and they got about £40 to £60 each because they're quite cool, quite rare items. To any Canon collectors out there, especially in America, if you like Canons, Canons are fantastic investment as well. Right, let's go on to the next item. So the next item, I've got one of these threading tools, which you can see here, a larger picture, used for threading iron, like rods or wire, obviously for making screws. So this cost me £2. I usually get £30 to £50 for these on eBay, just so you get an idea. If you see these at the markets, it does have a maker's name, luckily, Whitworth. So again, I will post in about 8 days' time what it sells for with all the other items. So the next item is a, can you guess what that is? So it's a folding knife, and it's usually called a cigar knife. And it's got this strange looking thing on it. I think that's for pipe tamper, for cleaning, used on pipes, obviously also cigars, for cutting off the tip of the cigar. Okay. I reckon they were used for obviously cleaning tobacco pipes, because there's another attachment that folds out, which is more like a spike. I'll try and get it out. It's quite rusted. But anyway, there's an iron spike in there that also folds out, which they usually use for cleaning pipes in the tubes. So that cost me £2. When you see them at markets, you'll notice that funny end, like a stamp, which I assume is for pipe, obviously for the tobacco, to as a tamper, to put pressure onto the tobacco into the pipe for smoking. Great. It's only £2 for that. Then the next item, we have a sailor-made little bodkin spike, and it's got a little hole in the end, so it could be put on like a necklace. Very useful item, used for stitch work and anything like that, or rope work. And the cool thing is, it's made out of cow bone. It unscrews out of the handle, and the sharp bit goes back into the handle, and you screw it into the handle for when it's like kept away, and you, like I say, hang it on your neck. Because I mean, I can't think of any other reason you'd have a hole through there other than for like a small necklace, or maybe a tassel, so it's harder to lose it. So anyway, this cost me £3. So we'll see what it gets on eBay, and like I say, in 8 days' time I will post what these items sell for. And yeah, this week, well, I'll be hitting the thrift store charity shops again, like I usually do. because I'm back in Edinburgh now. One more item, the folding cribbage board. It's got the original catch here on the front. So it's a box that turns into a cribbage board. It's Victorian. It just needs some oiling, cleaning to it. And inside there would have been cards, and the little bone spikes are useful as counters for the game. So this cost me £3. This, you'll see them in the UK quite often at most of the markets, the carboot sales and flea markets. So this should do quite well. I should get 20 to 30 to 40 pounds for this. So I'll oil it up, clean it up, and yeah, you know the story. In about 8 days time-ish, I'll post what they sell for, all these items. So thanks for watching. Please leave any comments below. Which item do you think was your favorite item? If you've got any questions about them. And please subscribe if you haven't. And yeah, this week I'm hitting the charity shops, thrift stores, probably tomorrow. I've got to go to the post office. There's a lot to post because a lot of things sold while I was away in Canada. There's like 40 to 50 items I sold while I was away. So it's going to be quite a busy week packing and getting everything sorted. But like I said, please subscribe if you haven't. And yeah, enjoy your week. And till next time, thanks again.